second chapter is concerned with the practice of yoga. Patanjali begins with instructions in Kriya Yoga. You might have heard the term Kriya Yoga as propagated by Sri Swami Yogananda Paramahansa, but that should not be confused with Patanjali's Kriya Yoga. Yogananda speaks of it as a special combination of breathing and mantrams. Patanjali refers to certain practical hints to be followed in our daily lives to prepare us for the more subtle practices to follow. In the previous chapter, Samadhi Pada, Patanjali gives us the aim of yoga in a theoretical way, explaining it as the control of the chitta-vrittis, or thought forms. Then the rest of the sutras in Book 1 could be classified into several groups: the different kinds of thought forms, the practices to control them, and the different kinds of superconscious experience culminating in the highest experience of Nirbija Samadhi, the seedless contemplation. But it is not that easy to get into Samadhi, so in this chapter he tells the student not to get frightened, but to prepare himself or herself by laying the proper foundation, then gradually build until that level is reached. For this, Patanjali gives a number of simple directions.
Let's start. Today we are going to talk about one of my another favorite sutra, because it talks about Kriya Yoga. And we finished last week with all the different things that Sri Patanjali advised us that we can use to help ourselves to meditate, to concentrate, to focus. He says so many different methods. And finally he says, use the method that is elevating to you. But try and stick to one practice, because when you stick to one practice, it becomes very powerful. But when the mind goes all over the place and, I'll try this doesn't work, and I'm going to try this, and I'm going to try this, and the mind is too busy and it won't focus. The whole idea of yoga is to simplify. So we're going to go to Book 2, Sutra 1, where he talks about Kriya Yoga. Now let me read the sutra to you and then we will discuss it. Accepting pain as help for purification, study of spiritual books, and surrender to the Supreme Being constitute yoga in practice. Now, it's called Kriya Yoga. Why? Because the word Kriya actually means cleansing or moving to action. Not like karma, but getting your body to move into action. So these are the three things that help us to move into action. So let's start with the first one. Accepting pain for purification. Normally when we get pain, we resist, we fight, we get angry, we say, why me? And because we are so connected with the outer world, we are so focused on the material world, we're focused on pain coming from outside in, that we've lost connection with who we really are. So pain is very real because we think we are material, we think we are physical, because it's so real to us, but that's not really the truth. And Kriya Yoga is the action that is dedicated to the focus of understanding that the divine is within you. Western philosophy teaches of the God that is outside, the one that punishes. So you got sin and you got this, etc. Eastern philosophy looks as the divine within, the higher self, in everyone. It came from the one and divided itself. Upanishads, just as a fire gives millions of sparks, so does the Lord of Love bring out so many beings, animate and inanimate. So here, Kriya Yoga is the action to get you to look within. So when pain comes, and it's unfortunate, but it's truthful, in most of my cases, when people face a lot of pain, they'll try everything, but finally they will go to a place where they cannot take the pain anymore, and they will look for something more. Now, this is Kriya in action, to aim the action towards going inwards rather than the action outwards. There's so much you can do to fix the action outwards. For example, in death, we were talking about it today. It's not in our hands. We will try, we'll do our best, but when the time comes, the time comes. So some things are not in our hands. And to understand that, because a human being is always trying to get what we want from life. And why is this happening to me? And this is the constant question. So when people are in deep pain, they look for something more because there's nowhere to get out of the pain. There is no way they can get out of the pain if they keep looking for finding the peace from without. You know, oh, I want to change my partner. You can't change your partner unless your partner wants to change themselves. We all know this now, but still that argument is going on because people refuse to accept the pain they're feeling from the partner, rather than address it as a spiritual problem, one that they can solve if they can see the cause, and using what Patanjali says, ahimsa, satya, using these tools to find out where the problem is, rather than you need to change, it needs to be fixed, full stop. You look at things differently when you do Kriya Yoga. You look at things inside of you. Why has this occurred? So it makes one search. And tapas is a way of searching. So what does the word tapas mean? It is often translated as burning, accepting pain and not causing it in return. It's a burning, it's heating up. And you all know when you have pain and it doesn't go away, it burns. So there's a little story, there's quite a few, but I'll tell this one. There was a blacksmith and he was really, really very, very sick. But he was a great believer of the divine, he called it God, divine energy. So one day his friend comes to him and said, I don't know why you believe in this God, because God has made you so sick and you should be angry. All you do is look after the village and you look after people and you're the one that gets sick. Why? And he looks at his friend and he says, I'm a blacksmith. When I want to make a tool, I take the metal and I hit it and I work on it. And if it doesn't mold the way I want it to, I throw it into the scrap pit. It's good for nothing. So right now, I'm being molded into something great. I don't want to be thrown into the scrap pit. So I have total faith. So you see, you can look at the same thing two ways. And this is the yoga study. It educates us, and that's why we study Patanjali or other books. It educates us to look at life in a different way. You know, accepting pain for purification. Why has this pain come to me? What is it fixing in me that I'm missing? Because the world will give us all pain. It's normal. But how do we deal with it? And Kriya Yoga is the action that helps you to understand it. So here, Sri Patanjali talks about 3 types of Kriya Yoga. Physical, mental, and verbal. So physical Kriya Yoga is, can you guess? Can you guess, anybody? Yoga, yeah, you do some hatha yoga, right, to get your body in action. And also you work on your body, you work on your mind, you work on everything that's physical, you work on your diet to make sure you have good diet so that you keep your body healthy and light so you can clean yourself up. You watch addictions, you watch your addictions. You keep an eye, what's happening to me? I've got so much pain, what am I addicted to? I need to look at my addictions physically and also mentally. And then you need to withdraw, this is tapas, withdraw from the things that are hurting you. Now this is very difficult, and this is why it's called austerity. But when a Western person sometimes read this sutra, they think austerity means I have to give up this and I have to give up that. It's not about giving up. It is about self-healing. It's different. Meditation is one of the ways, the mental ways that we suggest. Why? Because it is only when you can sit in quiet that you will ask the questions. You know, okay, this has happened to me. Why? You'll say, who am I really? And when you study the next one, Swadhyaya, which is study of spiritual books, you will start to see more and more clearly as time goes on. When you're studying, and this takes time, one has to be really patient. When you study, you start to really realize that really, I am much more than I think I am. I'm really not this body. I'm really not this mind. And you have to ask yourself this over and over again, because for human beings, I don't know why we find it so difficult to understand that we're just here for a really short time. Really short time. But we seem to think we're going to live forever, and this is the cause of many of our problems. So if we study these things, then we appreciate time here is short. And then we accept our pains, and let's get through them. Kriya Yoga. Let's do the action. Let me do the Hatha Yoga. Let me do the exercise. Let me go into the forest for a few days and breathe the clean air. Let me do some gardening to help my mind. You will do the action to help yourself, rather than saying, poor me, I'm the victim of this world. And you could be there forever. You could be there for a long time, and meanwhile the clock is ticking, tick-tock, time is going. And you know, the wonderful thing is about this yoga study is right at the beginning, Sri Patanjali tells us, right? Yogas chitta vriddhi nirodha tadadrastuhe swarupe vastanam. The restraint of the modification of the mind stuff is yoga, and then the seer abides in its own true nature. Right there, our own true nature. The scriptures call it in Sanskrit, Tat Vam Asi. I am that. I am that. Atman is with us. So the divine is with us. When the sparks go out, the sparks are in all of us. Why do we all seek happiness? Why? Because we've experienced it before we came to the body. We just wanted to play and to self-realize while we're here. And why have we come back again and again and again? Because we got so involved in the world, and maybe we weren't ready to self-realize. Maybe we wanted to experience more of the world till pain became so great that we go, this lifetime, I'm going to realize who I really am. I'm this energy, I'm this frequency, I'm one with the divine. What did Lord Jesus say? My Father and I are one, and you're my brothers and sisters. So we don't differ. Don't you know you are God's? So what are we here in this world? We're co-creating. So if we understand our mission in this world is to co-create, to make it a better world, to bring us back into that one, to bring us back into the happiness, a lot of the pain will be dissolved. But because we always look at ourselves as separate, so pain happens in our life because we forget that we're much more than that. And why are we searching for it? Because we experienced it once upon a time. So we want to go back there, but life teaches us that in this world, you will always have pleasure and pain. So the yogi's job is to go look at it to transcend that point and accept the pain rather than resist it, fight it, or feel like you're a victim. So it actually is empowering. Kriya Yoga is empowering. It gives you the power to connect with your highest source, call it God, Jesus, whatever you want, or higher self, as the Yoga Sutras call it, or Ishvara. gives us that ability, that empowerment. We don't give our power away. We take the power of the divine. We are instruments. We are all instruments, as St. Francis says. You know, make me an instrument of peace. Wherever there's darkness, let me bring light. So there it is, so very clear. But we're constantly fighting with the outside world when really we should be going within. And Kriya Yoga is that action that pushes us to find it for ourselves. So when you do some hatha yoga at the end of the class, that's why I love an integral yoga class, because you know we do the action and then we do the deep relaxation, which takes us to another space. We finish off with meditation and pranayama, and this gets us back into the world with everything covered, the koshas. We cover all the layers of ourselves, the physical, the mental, you know, our food body, removing the toxins. Then we get in touch with our intellectual self. And finally, in deep relaxation, if you've been practicing for some time, when you get there, you're just in bliss. There's nothing. You come out and you feel wonderful after a deep relaxation, you know. And then that is medicine for the soul. We're charging our battery. That's what we are doing with Kriya Yoga. And that's why action is important. So that's the mental, and the mental action is what? They say, think good thoughts. Think good thoughts. Be good. Do as much good as you can. All the mantras say, may we see good in everyone. May all be free from suffering. To divert the attention from our physical, mental pain towards the outside world, rather than focus on that, think of serving the world. What can I do to make it better? Because at the moment, if I look at my own mind, I'm a bit crazy. So let me divert my attention a little bit. And anybody who knows this, when you do a little service, you feel much better. When you do something good for someone, you feel so much better after you do a good deed, rather than expecting others to do a good deed for you. Really, it is so easy to change things round. We only have to change the chip. Don't expect anything from anyone. And then everything is a gift. Everything is a gift, but expect the best from yourself. Expect the best from yourself. Learn, and this is Kriya Yoga again, learn to develop qualities, goodness, kindness, loving nature, caring, ethical, live ethically. Because why? When you do that, what happens? You like yourself more. Simply, you like yourself more. When you're weak, when you people start saying things and you let them bring you down, you don't like yourself. Why? Because you're God's. You're not born to be weak. You don't like yourself. None of us do. And when you're in a crowd of negative people, how many people come say, no, I can't take it. So why are you there? Why do you constantly go where you feel this? What's happening with you? What is it telling you? Find out. This is Kriya Yoga. Find out for you how you need to react, because only you will know. And when you're in pain, you will search for the answers. That's the wonderful thing. And like I said, most people come to me when they're in extreme pain or gone through some of the things people have gone through. Really, oh my God, my heart breaks for them. So tough. They've really gone through tough things, you know. And I think my life has been a piece of cake. When I thought something was bad for me, it's a piece of cake compared to what I've seen other people go through, you know. But it wakes them up. It wakes us, surely this can't be all there is. And this is what most people feel. And that's where, when they feel that, that's when they commit suicide. Because they feel there's no way out. When you feel there's no way out, that's when you're really in trouble. But there's always a way out when you know you're divine. So the Kriya Yoga is the action you put into it, and find that source, your soul As Master Shivananda would say, would you all repeat with me? I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, immortal self I am. Keep reminding yourself, really you're not this body, you're going to lose this body one day. You're not this mind, the mind is attached to whatever the body is going through. So when you lose the body, the mind, all the worry for what? For nothing. There's a saying, why worry? You worry, you still die, right? So why worry? So don't bother, we spend so much time worrying, when we just need to accept pain for purification. And of course, this is a very famous Sanskrit story, so I will tell it because it's often used. There was this stone maker, marble. He used to make beautiful marble figurines. One day, this stone cutter got the marble, cut it in half. And so he started chiseling the first part of the marble, trying to get this beautiful goddess figure to put in a temple. And the first piece of marble, ouch, it just wouldn't be malleable. He couldn't do anything with it. So he, leaves it aside, takes the other piece of marble, and the other piece of marble is feeling out, ouch, but he has faith. And it's saying, I trust this marble sculptor. I know this pain is going to make me beautiful in the end. So he accepts the pain and knows it. Anyway, months pass, and the second piece of marble becomes this beautiful figurine of an Indian goddess. And the one that complained just became the block which she was sat on. And they placed it in a temple. So of course, when people come to worship in Hindu temples, what do? They garland the figurine and they step on the base. So the marble at the bottom was saying, why is everybody stepping on me? And they are garlanding you. And the marble on top goes, when I was going through so much pain, I trusted, I knew that something beautiful was going to happen to me. So I didn't complain, I accepted it. And I knew everything was going to be well. But you complained and you wouldn't allow yourself to be made beautiful. So now, I guess that's why they're stepping on you and they're garlanding me. And it's true. Many times when things are difficult in life, people come to me like many times, I have old parents who are sick and I have no time for myself because I have to, I have to look after them. And often I say, it's, you don't know how lucky you are to be blessed with a task of looking after somebody at this particular time of their life just before they're going to leave. It is one work you will be so grateful for. And actually, when they do it, they tell me afterwards, when the person has passed, oh, Nalini, I am so glad I did it. It was hard, it was painful, but now that they're gone, I have closure. I did my best. And that's such a good feeling. In fact, I got one text the other day from somebody in England, which is not at the talk today. Her father passed away and she called me a week ago to tell me that he was very sick. And I said, whatever you do, take a week off work, 10 days, whatever it is. He doesn't have much time, just worth it. Look after him, spend time with him. And she did, and she said that the whole family, because she told them all to come around, that he had a beautiful death. So you see, these are little things that make you feel good about yourself. So while you're doing it, it's hard work. You're trying to fit things in here, there, and maybe it takes some sacrifice. But accepting that sacrifice as a form of making you quite strong as a human being, because you become strong when you do things like that. When you see people go through difficult times, you appreciate life. Many processes go through your head when you look after somebody who's ill. Many processes. And there's so much thinking, are they going to make it? Should I, should I give up hope, or should I let go, or should I fight? All these thoughts make us understand a lot about life and death. So we actually grow when we do things like this. So accepting pain for purification. And for me, when my husband passed, the pain I often speak about, it was so horrible. And I always thought, how can people bear this pain if they don't have spiritual practices? How do they do it? How do they do it, Because we had a very good marriage for 34 years. How do they do it? Because the pain is horrendous. And then I realized a few weeks afterwards, I was asked to speak about death and dying. And I realized that this pain allowed me to help others. I said, thank my husband, because he had to sacrifice for me to be able to help others. And since then, I had many people who had lost their loved ones and have come to me. And as they see, I'm living, I love the divine. I don't feel punished by the pain. I feel gifted by the pain. And when they see that, then they feel, she can do it, I can do it too. Do you know what I mean? Because it's possible. We all have the divine. We all have that connection with the divine. And that's the hope we can give people. And it's a choice. It's just a choice. It's simply a choice. If you think this pain is teaching me to grow and to be of service to other people, it's the selflessness that gives you the peace. It's not like, I'm in pain, everybody. That makes you more like internal and, I want everybody to look after me. Can you imagine my poor kids? How would they feel? I knew I had to do it, to accept the pain, not a spiritual bypass. No, I'm so spiritual, so I don't feel pain. No, I accepted the pain. I did feel it horribly, and that's why I was able to help others. I had to go through that. I realized there was a bigger plan for me. And when you understand there's a bigger plan for you, you don't get scared. And it's like our master, Sri Swami Satchidananda, always said, it's all its name, it's all its form, it's all its deed, and it's all for good. Which brings us to what Kriya Yoga is, Ishvara Pranidhanam, surrender to the highest force. Surrender. Sometimes you just have to say, it is as it is. Sometimes there are no answers. When you apply the teachings to life, that's what we must do. We are living it constantly. And the divine is in us. And it keeps saying, say Tattvam Asi, God is in me. God is in me. The Lord of love is in me. The Lord of love. I love that description from the Upanishads. That's where we want to go before we die. This is our human mission. We know as humans, we're the only creatures that have the ability to create and to realize that we're much more than the body. But we keep getting lost in this. Why? So the practice Kriya Yoga of these, look after your mind and then look after your speech, the way you talk. How should speech be? According to the Bhagavad Gita and the Sutras, speech should bring tranquility, should be beneficial, should be pleasant, and should bring peace. Truthful, the most important. Truthful. So if you need to say what is true, but it's not nice, wait for a time, the right time to say it in the right way, at the right place, with the right feeling in your heart. This is why forgiveness is such an incredible tool, because if somebody has hurt you a lot and they've done horrible things to you and you need to say the truth to them, by you saying the truth and being angry and being this, what happens? It's a wall. Fire and fire creates more fire. So you work with yourself, This is Kriya Yoga in action. This is austerity. This is painful. This is absolute, do I really have to forgive these people? You want to be free? You have no choice. You don't have a choice. But you can forgive them, but you don't need to be around them. Because they can trigger you again and again and again and again. And for the sake of divinity, for your own divinity, so you don't lose yourself because somebody's horrible to you, you waste your life being angry, not worth it. So one method I used to use, I don't deserve this anger. I deserve joy. I deserve love. I deserve peace. Somebody's done this. I'm getting angry. They don't deserve my anger. Why am I getting angry? I'm losing myself for somebody else. Not worth it. And then when you think about it that way, and you live that way constantly, it's a practice, then your life does change. It does really change. And this is yoga in practice. Then to help you along, you study spiritual books every day. Why? Because it reminds you, I am spirit, I am soul, I am energy, I am frequency, whatever you want to call it, it really doesn't matter. But you're much more than what you think you are. And remember that. Remember, God is within me, the Lord of love. How do I reconnect? I need to reconnect. I've lost myself, anger, pain, lust, greed. I've lost myself. And then you analyze, it's the greed, it's the lust, etc. And I'll give you a story about somebody I saw many years ago who applied Kriya Yoga to help herself. And she's given me permission to tell her story many years ago. Anyway, she came to me and she was talking to me and she was telling me, oh, Nalini, I'm very depressed. She was taking a lot of antidepressants. So I say, why? And the first thing she answers me, she says, I'm a very good Catholic girl. And I said, but I never asked you, are you good or not? I presume everybody is good. And then she goes, I said, what is it that you need to tell me? And then she starts crying. And then she tells me that she's having an affair with this guy who has 2 children and a wife. And so I said, what about your husband? Are you willing to leave him? What's going on there? And then she goes, no, he's a good man. He's a very good man. He's always looked after me. We have 2 children, but I'm bored. So I said, very normal marriages to get bored after a little while. You have to create the romance. You have to make it. I said, you do it. And then she goes, no, but I don't know. And I said, look, let me tell you something. You came here today because you're depressed. If you were so happy having this affair, why are you depressed? She said, because I'm lying all the time. So I said, is it worth it for 1 hour of lust to have 23 hours of pain? You tell me. Or why don't you do this? Tell your husband and let's leave him. He said, no, the other guy will never leave his wife. And I said, look at the situation if you're caught. Look at the situation if you were caught. And she was like, so I described the situation. I said, you tell me what will happen. Oh, now there'll be so much trouble. The kids, what about our kids, both sides, family, da. So I go, okay, so what you want to do about it? And I knew, she would say, I can't leave him yet. I can't, I'm having too much fun. And at the same time, I can't go home and lie. So I said, okay, I told her. At that time, I was in Gibraltar and I was there like 5 days a week, right? Every day, working every day. So I said, okay, I want you to come to every single hatha class. Take 1 week off first. I want you to come to every hatha class. I want you to come to every talk. I was doing 2 talks a week, Tuesday and Wednesday. I said, and I gave her a list of things to do. And I said, just do this. She said, you're right. I know I must leave this man, but I can't. I said, just do the work. Don't do anything else now. Don't make any decisions now. I'm not ready to leave my husband. Okay, so just do the work. So she did. She was really good. And she'd come and see me every week, once a week, and she'd get stronger and stronger and stronger. And then one day she walked into my office 6 months later, and she said, Melanie, I broke it off. I said, yes, you did it. I said, how do you feel? She said, confused, but I'm very happy I did it, because now I know I can just focus on one thing. And you're right, I've told my husband we're going to change our life, we're going to go on holiday. He never likes to decide things, so I'm going to decide it, I'm going to do it. And I said, look at you, you look as if you've lost like 100 pounds off your shoulders. And she said, I have. I don't have to lie anymore. Now look at the luck. She really did try. She really did Kriya Yoga. 2 months later, the guy she was having an affair with was having an affair with another woman. And they got caught. They got caught. And it was disaster for his family. Disaster. It was 2 families that side, terrible divorces. Years in court cases, horrible. And she said to me, I got saved. And I said, the work you did saved you. But she hadn't done the work, the lust would have still been there, and it could have been her. But she did the work, and she wanted to live truthfully. She wanted to live honestly. She didn't want to hurt anyone. She didn't want to cause pain to anyone unnecessary. And then after that, she just got better and better. And then many, many years later, she got really well. So she didn't come anymore. She started a business, etc. with her husband. I meet her on Main Street, and they're older now, grandchildren, holding hands. And she winks at me, and I wink at her, and we know. We know. And they're holding hands, and he was boring. And they're older, So you just don't know in life, So, but I always say, before you make any big decisions, do the work yourself. Find out who you are. Maybe her decision would have been to leave her husband. I don't know. I couldn't tell her what to do. All I knew is the first thing you look for is peace. What was taking away her peace? Her lust and her lies. Lying just took away all her peace. So, and she realized that she really wanted to be this good Catholic girl, as she called herself, and she became that. So that was her wish. She saw that, and that's what she wanted. But that's the Kriya Yoga. So she did the accepting pain, letting him go. She did the study over the 6 months, a lot, 100%. She gave her heart to it. And then she did the accepting the divine will. And seeing the divine plan was perfect when she worked along with it. So this is Kriya Yoga. You see, the depth of the study is so incredible. Because we need Shakti. Shakti, what is Shakti? Shakti is what we call the female energy in all of us. The power, the Mother Nature, Kundalini, spiritual energy lives in our body. And if we don't awaken her, we can become very depressed, and we can really, our lives can be destroyed and wasted, and totally wasted. But when we awaken her, but we have to awaken her. So how do you awaken your spirit? By the first step, do good and be good. By the first step, simply try to, that's where the Hatha Yoga comes in. You try and help yourself physically first, because it's easy to get through the body than it is to the mind. So you start to work with your body, and then you start to ask questions, start studying, and this is the knowledge, This is why I do what I do, because I think if we have the knowledge, it makes us think, do I really want to be miserable for the rest of my life? Life is too precious. I am soul. I came here for a bigger purpose. What is my purpose? What can I offer the world? What can I do to make it a better world, rather than what the world can do to make it better for me? The whole thinking changes. And then you feel at one with everyone when you do that, because there's no more I, me, and mine, which make you suffer so much. And there's a us there is a we, we're a family, you know, and this is the thinking that changes. We all talk about world peace. It's very easy to talk about world peace. It's very hard to live it in this world because you can see we're all different characters, etc., and everybody's so different. How do you do it? And that's the 4 locks and keys I spoke about last week. How do you deal with the world? Right? Be friendly with happy people. Have compassion for unhappy people. Delight in virtuous people and disregard the wicked. Don't give them energy. Nothing. Just totally ignore them. And this is how you deal with people. But then how do you deal with yourself is Kriya Yoga. How to deal with your own thoughts, with your own mind, what's going on in your brain. Very difficult to change the mind. So bring the focus to the divine self. Make yourself divine. Think that's why we have a guru in our lineage. Because the guru gives you a picture, at least my master gave me the picture of how I wanted to be in life. What I wanted to be in life. And what it does is it ignites the spirit in you. When somebody is very spiritual, they ignite that spirit. They light the inner fire. They awaken your light. And that's why we call it darshan. To be in the light awakens your inner light. Because we all have it. We're all divine. We just forgot. We think everybody else can do it and we can't. And that's such a fallacy. And the masters keep coming back to us again and again and showing us how to do it by their own lives. And we just don't get it. Or we want to bring them down because we can't get it. And then, as all good people are always brought down, haven't you noticed? They even tried to bring Gandhi down, Mother Teresa down. Everybody that's good is always condemned for something. It's just the way the world is. They will always do that. So they did it to Lord Jesus, didn't they? Crucify him. All he did was love the world. It's just the way of the world. So ignore the way of the world. And focus on the way of your inner world, the light within. Focus on that. Every time the mind goes off, bring it back to, that's why we use a mantra. Bring it back to a higher energy field. For example, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Over time, the negative thoughts just don't have any space in your head. They don't have space. And if they come, already Om Namah Shivaya has come, or whatever you choose, Hari Om Shanti, or Thy will be done. That's entered your head. So it gives you a little break from that pain. And after a while, the break gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you realize, oh, I don't need to think that anymore. I don't need it. I don't need that thought. I release the need to have these thoughts. Can you say it? I release the need to have these thoughts. Done. And you just imagine, do it with your hands. I'm done. I'm done. Because the body helps you. That muscles move. It talks to all your cells. So move your body. Yeah, I'm done. And then be patient because it'll come back again in 2 days. Just when you think you're done, you're back again to square one. Don't stop. This is the practice. And this is again why Sri Patanjali tells us so clearly you have to practice for a long time without a break. And with all your heart. And the rest of the book keeps telling us that. What to do. Okay, you can't do this, do this. You can't do that, do that. But really the most important work for me is Kriya Yoga because you're dealing with Swadhyaya. I mean, for me, it's looking inwards. You know, why am I suffering? Because I want this and I want this and I want that. And that's what I realize. And I don't have any of these things. So all I'm doing is complaining, making myself miserable. Stop it, Nalini. Look at all the good you do have. And that's how I started. Look at all the good you do have. Why are you looking at all the things you don't have? Oh, I'm so lucky I have a bed. Oh, I have food to eat. Oh, I have a good husband, and I scold him all the time because I want to go back to Hong Kong. I have 2 beautiful kids and I don't appreciate it. I wasn't looking at what I had. I was looking at what I don't have. And when I saw what I had by constantly, yes, brainwashing myself to the truth, I was too lopsided on the negative. But this is what human beings do. We focus on the negative and we forget the good. And I've seen this with people. I've seen friendships. They've been friends for years and years and years. And one thing somebody does wrong, it's broken. But I said, you've been so good friends for so many years. There's just one thing. I mean, if you've got a friend who's constantly putting you down, then you're a fool. And I meet these people too, who have friends for years, constantly putting them down. And I said, what are you doing with somebody like that that's constantly criticizing you, telling you're not good enough? I would call that kind of person an enemy, not a friend. Because every time you come from meeting the person, you're down, you're depressed. Do you see? It's common sense, it's discrimination. And this is what I loved about Sri Patanjali. Use your discrimination. And how do you develop it? By the practice of the 8 limbs of yoga. The impurities dwindle away, and there dawns the light of wisdom, leading to discriminative discernment. And what are the 8 limbs of yoga? Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, right? And then you reach samadhi, nirvana, that's the goal. And constantly remember that. And when you study the science, it goes deep into your cell, into your consciousness. And then one day you get out. Maybe, I've seen people maybe practice 3 years and only I'm not getting anywhere. And then suddenly one day they get up. This happened today. And I wasn't even upset. And then I've had people, Nalini, I'm not getting better. I said, you don't see yourself getting better, but 4 years or 5 years or 10 years ago, all you did was never stop, give everybody a headache, and you're so loving now. You're so loving now, It's true, people do change, and they become such incredible human beings as they were born to be. We are all born to be these beautiful people, because why? We have a job to do. The divine is in us. It is in everyone. And the scriptures tell us again and again, it doesn't get into our head that we have to realize that. So the work, Kriya Yoga, is the action that you put towards it, all right? So put your action, study, learn about who you are and what you are.